All right, I'm ready.
All right, everyone, coming to you live from Georgia. It's the Matt L Podcast. Our next guest is Randy Christie, who's a professional wrestler. How have you been, Randy?
I'm good. I'm also known as Tarzan Duran.
Tarzan Duran.
Yep,
You know
that's the
what's
wrestling.
you know what's funny, Randy, is a coincidence. Like the last person I interviewed was a missionary named Brian Duran or Duran. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
So this is a real treat for me, Randy, because you're the first and so far only pro wrestler that I've interviewed. This is a real treat for me, and I hope it's going to be a treat for our viewers too.
Yeah,
And it's totally a pro wrestler move that you're not wearing a shirt.
yeah. Well, it's hot out here in Jersey.
Oh, it's hot everywhere. I've heard it's hot in Europe right now too.
Yep, yep.
So, um, I want to ask you, like, because I get the feeling that pro wrestling is really strenuous and it's difficult physically. To illustrate that, you have a friend or a coworker named Noah who he was doing a stunt and it went wrong. Can you talk about a little bit about that and how is he doing?
Yeah, so Noah, we call him Sparky. So he's not a professional wrestler, he's a stunt man. So some of the things that I do is I work with a stunt crew,
Mhm.
known as the world's most dangerous stunt crew, POR stunts. We also do POR wrestling. But this past Tuesday, we were doing some stunts at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, I think in Albany, New York.
Yeah.
And so they'd have races around the track, um, all different types of races, like school buses racing,
Wow.
cars with like trailers hanging on the back. Some had boats on the back and things like that. And in between all the races, we would do stunts. We were also working with legendary stuntman Dr. Danger. Um, yeah, I guess he was like seen on America's Got Talent and things like that, doing
Hmm.
some really wicked, crazy stunts. So he was over there helping us and everything. Um, yeah, so I did some stunts, but my good friend Sparky ended up doing a stunt that he's done multiple times. Um, Basically, he was going to get hit by a car. And it sounds a little crazy, but this is a world's most dangerous stunt crew, I suppose. And like I said, he's done this stunt multiple times. The only thing that was different with this stunt was for some reason they had a BMW that we were using. Now Sparky was actually going to light himself on fire for this stunt too,
Wow.
and but because of like the helmets that we had, we were afraid that he wouldn't be able to see. So we took out the fire. Um, Basically, so the BMW, it's like almost like a right angle. It's
Hmm.
probably like this, like where like the windshield is. Most cars are a lot more like that. So you're able, with a certain technique, you're able to like kind of roll off the car. It comes and you like roll off of it. Well, what happened with that, because it was like very close to a right angle, once you got over the hood, it just fucking yeah, it just went through him.
Wow.
And he had to go for immediate surgery at the Albany hospital over there, and he had his T11 to L1 fuse together.
Those are bones?
Yeah, in your spine. I believe it's like more lower spine.
Like vertebrae?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, Unfortunately, right after the stunt, not only did it knock him out,
Yeah.
when he like he woke back up on the track. Like the first thing he says that he couldn't move his legs. Um, these are very dangerous stunts. That the whole point of doing these stunts is being able to walk away from them without scratch
Yeah.
or without any serious injuries, and that's why we do these stunts. Accidents can always happen. We're fortunate that they don't happen that often because we're good and confident with what we do.
Yeah.
But there's always those rare mishaps. So yeah, there's actually a GoFundMe out there for Sparky.
Okay.
Noah Chaffin is his full name. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Uh, yeah. So it's pretty tough. It's definitely tough.
So do the stuntmen do like the stunts, perform the stunts for the wrestlers?
No, no, no.
Or are they kind of like separate from the wrestlers?
It's separate from the wrestlers. Every now and then with POR wrestling, like once a year, we'll do a wrestling show that also features the stunt guys, and we'll do a bunch of stunts in between.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then like what we do with the wrestling, especially with the POR wrestling. I mean, and a lot of wrestling in general, you could see it as like stunt work with like some like the crazy flips and jumping off of houses or whatever, things like that.
Hmm.
It could fall into like the stunt work genre. But yeah, yeah, so it's a wild thing there.
Yeah. So I think the biggest question is how real is professional wrestling? How real is it compared to what we see on TV?
Um, a lot of those guys on TV are pretty big, some pretty big, strong dudes. A
Hmm.
lot of them really nail people, man.
Yeah.
Uh, oh yeah, and then especially on the independent scene where I'm on right now, it gets pretty brutal with certain things. Especially in like the deathmatch scene where it's a lot of blood and the fluorescent light tubes and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's really tough what we do.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So how did you get your start in wrestling, Randy? Did you watch wrestling on TV when you were a kid, and maybe did you wrestle in high school or middle school?
Yeah, yeah, wrestled in middle school and high school. Started watching professional wrestling. I don't know, maybe, well, I know my grandfather always had it on, then eventually I found it on my own.
Hmm.
And yeah, just flipping through the channels one night, I found WWF. My grandfather
Yeah.
used to watch WCW.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I just got like hooked on it. Uh, a lot of things in professional wrestling is like standing up to bullies, like standing up for yourself, things like that.
Hmm.
So it helps give you like inspiration to do that in a sense.
That's a very positive message.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I remember, like, I grew up in other countries, and so I was living in China, and we got like some American shows in English on this channel called like Star Plus, which became Star World. So back when like WWE was called WWF, they had like, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and now both of those guys are like, um, really successful in Hollywood. And, I know John Cena because he hosted a reality show, American Grit. So, growing up, I'd heard of these wrestlers. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. Hulk Hogan was really famous, like in the 80s or the 90s, right?
Yeah, yeah. He also did a lot of movies.
And
Yeah, John Cena's been doing a lot more movies and things.
yeah, he's in Heads of State, which is on Prime Video right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. He's
yeah.
got some good ones.
So you kind of talked about it, but am I right in thinking that pro wrestlers have to be kind of fit and in shape and athletic, and that there's a little bit of acting involved?
Yeah, yeah. You definitely have to be athletic. You don't have to be able to do everything,
Hmm.
but you have to have like a certain amount of like, athletic capabilities. Like for me, I stay working out and everything, which not everybody does.
Hmm.
You can get by like not really working out and things like that, but
Hmm.
I mean, just like my psychology of it is, if I wrestle somebody that's way bigger than me, that's like pretty jacked up and all, I need to be pretty strong myself to make it look like a good fight,
Yeah.
to be able to go in.
Um, so who are some of your wrestling role models?
Uh, do a hat switch. It is with the lazy and crazy hats. All right. Hmm. I mean, I guess role models, Chris Jericho,
Okay.
was and still is a big name in wrestling. He's somebody that I definitely learned a lot from watching. Uh, of course, like Jeff Hardy. with all of his like crazy stunts that he would do, jumping off to like 20-foot ladders and things like that.
Hmm.
You know, he's also still wrestling, still doing it, which is also wild. Guys like Rob Van Dam, he's a really awesome dude.
Remember,
Uh,
like Owen Hart got really high up, and it was in like the news, and then he jumped off of something, and he like was killed. I mean, it's not funny, but it's
um,
kind of like there was some kind of
yeah.
accident.
So yeah, he was coming down a zip line,
Oh, okay.
and so he was just like coming from the zip line, going into the ring,
Uh-huh.
and or like right outside there or whatever. But anyway, it ended up snapping on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so something snapped, and I think I heard he fell from like 60 feet up. There's a video of it, but of course that's locked away in like the WWE vault.
Hmm.
So they don't, they're probably never going to release the actual video
Yeah,
unless they get hacked or something, I guess. But
yeah. So, which is there a TV network that broadcasts your wrestling matches? I know you said a little bit earlier that they're kind of independent. And
Mhm.
which organization do you wrestle for?
I wrestled for quite a few,
Okay.
and there's multiple different networks, I guess that I'm on. There's IWTV,
Uh-huh.
which I'm usually on there through like CZW shows, Combat Wrestling Zone. They're a pretty prominent place in wrestling. GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, is on Fight TV or
Okay.
Triller. You can go to Triller to find it.
Hmm.
And then there's also a lot of things that just get posted onto YouTube. So, if you type in like Tarzan Duran verse, a whole bunch of stuff will come up. Usually some pretty good matches, crazy stuff.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm always on that. And yeah, like Owen Hart, man, I was watching just like some of his older stuff, and it's he does like such like a great like a technical style, like a real like old school. Like I'll watch him and I'll like find like some of the things he'll do will be from like French wrestlers in the 50s. And
Wow.
a lot of like the French wrestling in the 50s also kind of like a lot of luchador stuff. They're like
Hmm.
very similar. Um, yeah, yeah. So like whenever I watch Owen Hart match, you learn so much. Like it's a whole. I mean, there's many different styles of professional wrestling, and I'm not always like I could do Owen Hart style. There's just not many other people that I get matches with that could do that with me and make it look really good.
Okay.
But I mean, I do everything from like the lucha libre to all like the flips, to all like the more wild stuff with the hardcore stuff, things like that, and death match and everything. So I basically do it all in wrestling right now.
Wow. Um, so I had heard of like Mexican luchador wrestling, but I hadn't heard of the French wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. So oh man, there was like something like a long ago, I guess. France was in Mexico. Like they had like army people in Mexico, and I think France did like a Greco-Roman wrestling, or they did like something they started doing with the Mexicans out there,
Uh-huh.
and they ended up like creating like lucha libre out of that. And so like, if you watch like the 1950s professional wrestling in France, and then you watch like lucha libre, especially like older lucha libre, you see a lot of the same things, which is pretty cool. Because the American style is like completely different.
Yeah. So did the French wrestlers also wear like the painted masks, or were they masks, or like that the
Um,
Mexican wrestlers wore? Were they masks
I think yeah, I think there was one.
or face paint? Maybe it's face paint.
No, it's the wrestling masks.
Okay.
So what made that popular out in Mexico was I think there was a wrestler from Texas. I can't remember the name right now, but they brought him in and he ended up wearing like a leather mask or something like that. And it ended up really, really catching on in Mexico and became like a whole part of their culture.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, where they started doing like the colorful masks and all the things like yeah, it really like once the guy went over there with the mask, like it just like drew. You know what I mean? People were like, "Oh man, who is this guy?" And yeah, the mask really caught on. So that's actually like a weird misconception of it, like in a sense, of it, like being from like the Mexican culture of wearing masks. but it's like surprising that it actually came from like American that
Yeah.
went over there that happened to do it.
Hmm.
And that wasn't even the guy's like regular gimmick, like in the States. Like he went over there just for Mexico and like put on a mask. And yeah, yeah. Like there's like some interesting stuff. Like you watch like Rey Mysterio talk about it and things like that.
Okay.
But
Well, I remember, Randy, how you and I know each other is I met you. You are either the cousin or the nephew of my friend Angel.
yeah, yeah, his nephew.
Nephew, her nephew. It's
Yep.
kind of ironic because she's her family members are from Texas and Louisiana, and you're kind of from New Jersey, right?
Yes.
You might be Angel's northernmost relative.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, well, we found her, geez, probably more than like 10 years ago now, or about 10 years. Well, my mom was adopted, and so she was born in Texas
Mhm.
and ended up, first few days of being alive, she ended up going to New Jersey, with my or yeah, my grandparents and all that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up doing like a DNA test where you spit in a tube and all that stuff. I think through ancestry.com. And that ended up helping us like find everybody.
And you happen to be related to my friend Angel. Isn't that's the craziest? That's wild.
Yeah, yeah. Of course they were like pretty skeptical when we first like hit them up and everything,
Because
but it
she
ended up
is
working
so
out.
Southern.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, so we after and you came to my church, Roswell Assembly, right?
Hmm.
And then we went out to a Mexican restaurant, La Paria.
Yep.
And so I got your number. I said I'd love to interview you someday, and here we are. But you also sent me like a song, Man in the Sky, which I really like.
Yeah, yeah. I had a feeling you liked that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Did
Tom McDonald
Tom
song.
McDonald, did he start out kind of independent and then his song kind of blew up?
No, he's still independent. He's probably like one of the biggest independent names right now. That it's like not signed to any record labels or anything like that. He does everything
Wow.
himself. He used to be a professional wrestler out in Canada,
Oh,
and then he started a rap career. Um, yeah, and he got big through the rap career, and now like he's always experimented with other genres. He had like when he was doing rap, he also had some like rock songs and things like that.
mhm.
And now he's like going more like some of the country songs as well.
Wow.
And yeah, the man, this guy has a great song.
You can kind of hear like a little bit of a country vibe in Man in the Sky.
Yep, yep,
And so I recently heard the song Rich Men North of Richmond. And that kind of
yeah,
reminds me of the song Man in the Sky. But Man in the Sky to me is kind of more romantic because it's like, we'll be fine, babe. I'll be the man for you, you know. Whereas in
yeah.
Rich Men North of Richmond, the singer is kind of like ranting.
I don't want to say he's ranting. The Northman of Richmond, like, he's more just talking about the disconnect between like the very rich and like the more poor people and or just like the everyday Americans, compared to like, the super rich and all that. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good song. That one spoke to a lot of people and just like the disparity of everything.
Well,
Um,
I found the song on YouTube because there's like videos of Trump singing songs, but it's ironic because isn't he one of the rich men north of Richmond? Because when I think of like Richmond, Virginia, and then isn't Washington, D.C. north of Richmond? So isn't that talking about
yeah.
like politicians?
Um, yeah, I think it has a lot to do with politicians. A lot of people don't realize that most politicians are like millionaires, and
Yeah.
it's not because of what they get paid through their job. They only make around what, like maybe like 150K or something like that. But you're there for a few years and you become a multimillionaire.
Hmm.
And it's like, why is that? Well, because things are corrupt, and there's kickbacks and all these different things. So yeah, it's almost like kind of pointing out to like the corruption. Yeah, in that song he even brings up like the Epstein Island. Like should I care about like like the
Yeah.
mine is not just on the island, and
Yeah.
now of course that's like a whole giant debacle too,
Yeah.
still continuously. But
Well, Randy, can I ask you some questions from the Book of Questions?
Sure.
I think this interview's been going pretty well, right? Do you
Yeah,
want to give
yeah.
a sh shout out for Dunkin' Donuts? Is that
No,
coffee
no,
from
they're not
Dunkin'?
sponsoring me,
Okay,
but I do have two cups.
okay. Um, Plus, like Ben Affleck has it covered with the Dunkin' sponsorships, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's lucky like that. I'm independent. Ben
Yeah,
Affleck's mainstream, so yeah, he can get those Dunkin' Donuts sponsorships.
yeah. Okay. Do you believe in ghosts or evil spirits?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. There's things there. I've seen things. Actually, just the other day, it's like weirdly
Hmm.
like this can right here. I was just sitting there on my bed, and it started not just like a little thing like that. It was going like this, and I'm just like, I think like I
By
was like looking
itself.
that way, and I
Hmm.
saw it in the corner of my eye, and they could hear it, and this thing was just moving. So I'm like, what the heck is that? Now
Yeah.
this is like the first kind of just like weird thing that I've seen in a long time. But like when I was younger, I guess the first thing that I saw that was pretty strange. I've only talked to one other person that's seen something similar to this. I think I was like sitting down on the couch watching like Hey Arnold or something. We had sliding doors, and I think my mom was over there like watering plants.
Hmm.
And I just happened to look at my mom, and I guess I looked outside the door, and I saw a blue figure, a glowing blue figure that it kind of, from what I remember, it kind of seemed like I could see through him,
Hmm.
but he had like the outline of almost like a pilgrim type error. Like he had like a hat, maybe I don't know. Like it kind of reminded me from like Fred from Scooby Doo, but with like a hat on, and it was very strange. I just like saw him; he was glowing in blue, and he just like walked through the backyard, I guess through the fence, and
Hmm.
kept going. So I'm like freaking out, like telling my mom. And my mom told me a story when I was like still a baby. She was in the car outside the house, and she saw somebody in green that had like a green glow that was like walking. They saw him walk, and she's like, "Oh, there's someone in my backyard." Then the guy she was with thought she was crazy. They go upstairs. Like a couple minutes later, 5, 10 minutes later, whatever. They saw the guy walking through the backyard again, and they literally seen him go right through the fence.
Hmm.
Now, for some reason, he was glowing green. The guy that I saw was glowing blue. That's the only
Yeah.
time I've ever seen anything like that,
Hmm.
and it was wild. We did live less than a half a mile from the Edison Tower. Where Thomas Edison uh, was at, like
Yeah.
the big tower with the light bulb on top. So we did live very close to that. I don't know if it's something from that or I don't really know exactly what I saw, but there's definitely like unexplained things.
Yeah. So, Randy, would you be willing to spend a night alone in a remote house that is supposedly haunted for a cash prize?
Uh, hmm, maybe. I mean, just from like experiences and knowing with other people, I do think there's like some type of more evil spirits that can latch on to people and that do, and that they can follow you, and you might not notice right away, but it could cause a very massive decline. And I think there's beings that kind of feed off of other people and stuff like that as well.
Hmm.
Um, so like it would be cool. It'd be like right up my alley to do that. But life is hard enough as it is, and I
Yeah.
don't need any like extra spirits following me. I know I have some good spirits following me that keep me out of trouble.
Yeah, including the Holy Spirit, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, would you rather be a member of a world championship sports team or like wrestling team or be the champion of an individual sport?
Probably individual sport.
Hmm.
I mean, I always like being part of teams, especially with like amateur wrestling or something like that. It's like, yeah, you're part of a team, but you're out there by yourself. You're an individual out there by yourself in a matchup. So
And
yeah,
which sport would you choose? Wrestling?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's what I've always been naturally good at. Always been naturally the best at wrestling. I mean, amateur wrestling, I was very, very good. Um, I'd have to weigh in over 171 pounds, and I would weigh out of practice at like 165.
Hmm.
So I'd have to gain like like over 6 pounds quickly in that day. So I'd have to buy extra lunch and things like that, which cost money. All
Hmm.
the other kids had to starve, but
Oh,
I had to eat more so that I could weigh over 171 so I could wrestle at 215.
okay.
And with my speed and the strength that I had, other people might have been stronger than me, but I was still strong enough. And I would just like, boom, just get around people. And yeah, I was surprisingly very good at that weight.
Hmm. Do you think the world will be a better or a worse place 100 years from now?
With the way how technology is going, possibly worse in America. I mean, you can kind of see like, how addicting phones are. Kids aren't playing as much outside, and then a lot of parents even think it's safer for their children to play inside, just playing video games. Some people fall under that concept. Um, so I don't know, unless people kind of like wake up and pay more attention to how technology affects us, then it could definitely sway some things. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 100 years from now, I mean, yeah, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, in like the past 100 years already, there's like multiple countries that are like different names now, and things like that. So who knows, 100 years from now, like, you know, be like America could be like Canada and Mexico or something like that. Like sometimes countries, become each other or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I have no idea what the heck's going to happen.
Hmm.
I'm sure it'd be interesting. I wish I could see.
Yeah, maybe we will be able to see it. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the body or the mind of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want and why?
I mean, well, I'm 35 now, and I probably still got the mind of like an 18-year-old. I'm still doing all the wild things I was doing when I was 18. A little bit
Hmm.
less with the backflips. I don't really be backflipping too much no more. I'm like easier on my ankles and stuff.
Hmm.
My body's taking some hits, but yeah, I'm still pretty wild out there. So um, yeah, I don't know. By the time I'm like 90, I'll probably still be thinking the way that I am now. I don't really see me getting older mentally.
Hey, Randy, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, we're back. So, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one ability or quality, what would it be?
Hmm. That's a good question. I mean, like any ability, be pretty cool to fly. I got to
Hmm.
fly a few times in my dreams, and almost like a lucid dreaming effect, where I was able to kind of like I was really able to like control the flight. Uh, I mean, the first time it happened, I kind of started like going, it's like what the heck.
Yeah.
But then like once I like owned it, I was able to fly, and I only had those dreams a few times,
Mhm.
so flying would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too. I think I'd like to fly too.
yeah, have you ever
Um,
had a dream like that where you flew?
yeah,
Yeah,
few
nice.
times.
Oh, that's cool. Have you
But
ever had a dream where you died?
I mean, like I'm sure this has happened to other people, but like if you fall off from somewhere high, you wake up, you know? So is that like dying in a dream?
Um, I mean, it could be. I had a, well, I died once in a dream, I think. Um, I was like, for some reason, driving down a dirt road,
Mhm.
and I saw up ahead of me there was like a car submerged in water and like somebody was like walking from it. So I'm like, okay. So I started like reversing, I started backing up. And then next thing you know, just for some reason my car started filling up with water. I was just, I don't know, it's a dream. But like it started filling up with water. So I'm like, what the heck? So I started going for the handle to open the door. For some reason I couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And then once the water came up, it was very, very dirty water. So you couldn't see through it or anything. And it kind of filled up. And then like next thing I knew, I was like staying in my friend's living room that night. And I like woke up gasping for air
Hmm.
loud enough. I was gasping loud enough that I woke up other people in other rooms that like came out to like check on me, like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like I was like literally suffocating in the dream. And so that, yeah, that was a pretty wild one.
Yeah. Like I've been shot in dreams before, but and then whenever I get shot, like I wake up. And then
Mhm.
also like whenever if I were at the school where I work, like at my workplace or at my church, it never looks quite the same as it looks in real life. So, but I never realize, you know, this is a dream or wonder, am I dreaming? So,
Yeah,
Randy,
so well, that's where
yeah.
like lucid dreaming comes in.
Hmm.
And for lucid dreaming, there's like a couple techniques to be able to tell that you're in a dream.
Hmm.
It's it's pretty hard to do. I've only done it a couple times to where I was able to wake up in a dream and kind of control where the dream is going to next.
Hmm.
And then I usually get caught back up into the dream and forget that I'm dreaming. But like well, like one thing, like if you're in a dream, if you look at a clock or anything, it's not going to tell you the actual time. Um, there was a couple other techniques that I would use. I think there was like something to do with my hands or something
Hmm.
to where it could like help wake you up. They would say like wake up real quick, like 2 hours before you actually wake up. Go to the bathroom or something, go back to sleep, and because you just woke up, you're like more likely to like lucid dream or something. But yeah, lucid dream is very interesting. It's definitely a real thing that people can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
See, like, well, for me, like, I smoke a lot of weed, so I don't dream as much.
okay.
But like during sober October, when I don't smoke weed,
Hmm.
I have the craziest dreams every night. So it's like I'm literally going to sleep into like another reality. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like I'm just like awake that whole time throughout October. Um, yeah, because how much more active my brain is, I guess, which is interesting.
Well, we have about 4 minutes left in the meeting, and I don't want us to get cut off. So, is there anything you want to promote?
Um, oh hey, Tarzan Duran. You guys can find me on Instagram,
Mhm.
Tarzanian_devil. That's the gimmick that I've been rocking with.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of like a modernized Tarzan gimmick in a
Mhm.
sense. And I couldn't just be Tarzan Duran because people start thinking too Disney classic with it. So I had to add that whole like mystic aspect to it, which works out. But yeah, man, I got a
And
lot of crazy reels and videos up there doing wild stuff.
I think I've watched a few of them. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers in closing?
No, keep the faith, keep the faith, believe in yourself,
Hmm.
stay positive.
And finally, is there anything those of us who pray, we can pray about for your friend Noah? And is there anything we can pray about for you?
I mean, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing okay. But yeah, Noah could definitely use some prayer.
Hmm.
Today, like the update that I got on him, I think yesterday, like the doctor saw like some muscle movement in his legs. Um, I think like after the surgery, like the day after or something, he was able to feel his legs, but he hasn't been able to move his legs yet. But the muscle movement in the legs, I think and I hope is a good sign. And we're all just really hoping and trying to keep faith that
Yeah.
everything's going to pull it through and that he's going to be all right. I mean, Noah's been one of our stuntmen for a very long time, and he's also never been to the hospital off of a stunt. I mean, a lot of us haven't been to a hospital after a stunt.
Hmm.
You know, because you really got to commit with these stunts. But accidents happen in everything.
Yeah.
Um, I do all this crazy wrestling. I do all these flips and these, wrestling in Mexico, and I do all this crazy stuff. What took me out back on May 3rd, I got caught in a flash flood. I got out of the car, and the car kind of like got pushed onto me, and I messed up my Achilles heel. So I've been wrestling in a boot like this. I just been wrapping it. Well, when I do the hardcore stuff, I'll wrap it up in barbed wire.
Yeah.
I have another boot like this with all the metal that kind of keeps me balanced. So, but I'm healing up pretty good. I'm just doing physical therapy basically right now.
Cool.
But yeah,
So, can I just pray for you and Noah really quickly?
yeah, let's do it.
Heavenly Father, I pray that you'll be with Randy during his physical therapy, and I pray that you'll be with Noah and heal him, and just reveal yourself as our healer to Noah, and just be with him in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Randy, thank you for your time. The time kind of ran a little bit short in our meeting toward the end, but thank you for your time. I really enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's awesome talking with you again.
All right, and to those of you who are going to watch this, hopefully we'll have another video for you soon. And oh, I wanted to sign off by saying, yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah. All right, see you guys soon. Peace out.